Hello and welcome to the premiere episode of, we haven't come up with a name for it yet, a podcast produced by the John Cotton Dana Library at Rutgers University, Newark. I'm your host, Mark Papianni. I'll be talking with my colleagues and friends here at Dana Library to get a little more insight into their lives in and outside of Rutgers. We'll have an open conversation, but no vintage cars or houseplants between us. Beverages depend on the time of day we choose to get together to talk, and there's always a chance for insightful information and who knows, maybe a few laughs. But don't hold me to that. Today we'll be talking with Consuella Askew, director of the John Cotton Dana Library since 2014.
Thank you for joining us on this premiere episode of, I haven't figured out a title for this yet, but we're going to come up with something rather soon. We're going to have some theme music. We're going to have a band. But Consuela, thank you very much for agreeing to do this as the premier participant in this series of podcasts that are going to take place over the next, I hope, 12 weeks or so. And maybe we'll even be back before then, so we could do some of these live and in person, which
Yeah, that would be great. I think this is a great idea, Mark, and I'm happy to be the inaugural participant in this podcast series.
Well, let's start by going in this direction. Rutgers, it's been in its over 250-year history or so. Rutgers, I don't think, has ever experienced a complete academic shutdown, such as we're going through with this COVID-19 right now. And when you were first made aware that this was going to become a major part of the university's history, what was your reaction to that?
So I'd already been put on alert by my husband who works in the healthcare field. So they were starting to talk about it in the hospitals. They were starting to see patients, and I was actually worried. But it was still swirling about in the ether as the university administration was trying to figure out which way to go, because there was a lot of information. I would say a lot of competing information, things that were unclear, unknown at the time. And so I think all of leadership was operating in the gray. And it was a very challenging time because, and you felt the aftermath of it, it almost seemed like hour by hour, new information was coming down the pipeline and we were having to plan for this. And then the next day, oh, nope, we need to plan for that. And having to deal with information about the virus that had not yet firmed up. So not knowing what impact it really had on students, faculty, staff, but knowing from what we were hearing from the CDC and the president's press conferences that it wasn't good. So looking back on that, I think there was a lot of anxiety on my part with regards to just exactly what is happening, what the impact would be for the faculty and staff at Dana and the students, RUN, and how in the heck were we going to manage all of this?
I guess it brings me to my kind of next question. Did you ever imagine you'd experience anything like what we're going through right now? I mean, we're into our 12th week, the pandemic lockdown. And you never imagined that anything like this could happen?
Neither personally nor professionally.
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
I mean, who could have ever anticipated this?
Well, we're not sure.
Well, the president did. Yeah, he did.
Well, I'm not going there. We're not going there with this interview.
Right. No, but I mean, even with higher ed, sometimes I think we self-isolate from things that are happening out and I'm just going to put it in quotes, air quotes, yes, in the real world, because we are really focused on the teaching learning processes for our students. And it's almost as if we think that we are untouchable in a sense, that it's not going to happen to us.
Right. We always kind of feel that, it's going to happen to the other guy, or it's happened already, 1918 and so forth, or what was the other one, or even the going back to the 60s and so forth. But
yeah, I mean, even with Ebola, they were able to suppress it, where it didn't become widespread across the United States. And I think on some level, many of us were thinking that, oh, okay, well, we'll
Yeah.
suppress this too. We'll arrest, no problem.
Right.
Vaccine, 18 months, no problem. They'll figure out something else between that time.
Mhm.
This is the United States, after all. But
After all, yeah.
yeah,
It's a different kind of United States, though.
yeah.
Um, so between all the virtual meetings, all the endless emails, which I assume you're getting, and barrage of phone calls and so forth, how are you adapting to working at home?
It's funny. I've said many times over the past 11 weeks or so. The first week, it was like, oh, I'm home. I can get used to this.
Yeah.
And then work life starts blending into professional life.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas you had a set time that was the where there were boundaries because you were traveling to and from work.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd either gear up for work, and then when you were traveling home, you'd kind of decompress. And by the time you hit your doorstep, because I have an hour drive,
Oof.
I was back into family mode. But now it's all blurred.
Oh,
And I struggle with trying to shut down at a certain time in the evenings
mm-hmm.
and let work be work. There's no way for me to now to kind of clear out that cache,
Yeah.
computer terms, of what happened during the day,
Mm-hmm.
because it now, I find that I'm taking it into the evening, into the next day. Even it used to be I'd come home, get a good night's rest, wake up, it's like you reboot.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday was yesterday,
Yeah.
and now it's not.
No,
I
it's just
carry all of that.
all
Yeah,
together. It's one big crazy life we're leading right now.
exactly. Exactly. So it doesn't help with the stress levels or anxiety, because I
Mm-hmm.
carry that now into
Yeah.
the next day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all of that.
All right. All right. All right. Let's move on. We're out of work for a little bit now. So I think a group of us, you host this Friday every other week or so, a happy hour, if you want to call it that, where we're able to just get a group of us together and discuss family life, how the whole thing is affecting us, as opposed to this one-on-one that we're having right now. But we were able, I think, to experience a little bit of your homeschooling abilities the other evening. Um,
My challenges.
I'm sorry?
My challenges.
Your
Yes.
challenges. Okay, yeah. How is that going? How That's the question right there. How challenging is that? I mean, because quite honestly, I don't have. I am blessed that my both my daughters right now are rather adults, and they're able to pretty much handle all this on their own. I mean, yeah, they do come to me with technical issues or something like that, but I don't have the toddlers. I don't have the elementary school. I don't have the high school kids. Uh, your son Devin
Evan, yes.
is how old?
He's 14. He'll be
14,
15 in August.
15.
So
Okay. Mm-hmm.
just completed his ninth grade year. And what you saw was parental angst because all of his assignments had to be in by midnight on that Friday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there was one set of assignments that, as I was sharing with the group, we were trying to figure out how to pull out of a particular software platform and actually send it to his teacher. And I was racking my brain trying to figure out how to get it done. So it all resolved itself by the teacher just saying, just take screenshots.
Yeah.
And so
Thanks.
we used the camera to take screenshots and sent them to him via email.
Yeah.
But for the most part this semester, it had gone pretty smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
I think luckily Evan was able to figure out most of what he needed to do on his own. His teachers were available via Zoom and email, so if he needed anything, it was just a matter of him reaching out. I think for me and my husband, it was making sure he got his work done.
Yeah. Yeah.
because there was that tendency towards the last few weeks to think of it as being on summer vacation.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
okay.
summer reading list.
Yeah,
Did you finish those 13 books?
yeah,
Because that's what, yeah, but that's what it's
well,
like.
I'll get to that next week.
Yeah,
But you go
yeah.
to school next week.
Uh-huh.
No problem.
Labor Day is this coming Monday.
Right.
You start school the next day.
So it all went smoothly up until that last day.
Hmm.
So
That last day. Okay.
that last day, he actually, the only time he came to me for help was dealing with an English assignment, I believe. But otherwise, it seemed as though this type of learning worked for him.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm finding that they're either loving it or hating it.
Yep.
I don't know anybody who's really on the in between right now. You see the commercials sometimes. I can't wait to get back to school, and then you see the other ones. My parents are driving me crazy. I
Right.
can't do this, and then there are others that are saying, "I got all A's this semester. I'm doing great." So, um, any words of encouragement that you might have for the students, the current Rutgers students who are going through this, who may not be doing as well as they hope, or who you know are feeling a lot of anxiety about this whole lockdown, and they're missing out on the college experience. They really are.
I agree with you. Thinking back to my freshman year and just my college experience overall, but I would just remind them that they have a whole lot of resources that are available to
Mm-hmm.
them and that are still accessible to them. If they are having a hard time with adjusting to this new mode of learning, they can always speak to their faculty members, to the departmental advisors. They can make an appointment with the counseling services to deal with anxiety related issues. Um, for those who are just wondering, how to navigate the information and resources that are needed for their classes, there's of course the librarians. We're still here,
Mm-hmm.
even though you don't see us in the building and on campus. We're just a click away.
That's it. That's it. That's good. Again, let's switch gears a little bit. Couch time, Netflix binging.
Ooh.
What have you been watching on TV that you didn't really get the chance to?
Oh my gosh. So I've moved from Netflix now to Prime Video.
Me too.
And there were two particular series that not only myself, well, actually three, that the household has binged watched over the past
11
month
weeks.
or so. Yeah. How many weeks is it now again? So there's Bosch, the detective series on Prime Video.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was Jack Ryan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. With was that John Krasinski, I think is
Yes.
that the guy?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And Wendell Pierce. Um, on the other, it was Uploaded, which is a relatively new series about people's, I think, their
Well,
consciousness being digitized, and then
yes,
they
yes.
get into this.
Has he passed on to another life or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one I saw the trailer for, and I said I gotta watch that. But I'm really not a binge watcher. You know, I have other things that I need to do or want to do. I can't sit there. When I sit there from 12 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the morning, I will sit and watch either a 2 hour movie when no one else is around, or catch up on 4 or 5 episodes of my thing right now is Space Force. I've been watching with Steve Carell.
And my son introduced me to Space Force.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've only seen one part of one episode. I'm,
It's good. I was hoping for a little bit more satirical, a little bit more funnier, but I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna give it a chance. I got 2 more nights. I could finish up the season 1. So
Oh, I think the other that I started watching with my son, I think it's called Hunters.
Hunters?
Hunters.
No.
It's a series about uh, it's a 20-something-year-old Jewish man whose grandmother was killed by an unknown assassin. And what he learned about his grandmother, she had been in a concentration camp and she had hooked up with this group who were basically seeking revenge, and they were hunting down the Nazi
Yes.
soldiers.
Yes. Okay. Again, saw the trailer for it.
Yep. The one with Al Pacino was.
That's it. Yes. I
Yeah.
kept thinking, who was that guy? Who was that guy? It is Al Pacino. Yes. And
I think he was killed off
he
during the first
was killed off. You're giving it away.
season. Yeah, I'm going to assume they had him there for the big name so that
Uh-huh.
people would tune in and get hooked on it.
Oh. Okay.
But yeah, he was killed off after the first season. So it's a very interesting show. I think it melds some history.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say it's factual, but just to bring awareness of what was happening in the concentration camps through the flashbacks that they used. And it's a motley crew of hunters, as they refer
Yes.
to
Yes.
themselves.
I'm gonna have to bring up the spoiler alert little blurb, right before your
You can
comment.
edit this all out.
I mean, I don't have to watch it now.
Yeah. No, and you were talking about the time of day that you get to watch movies and whatnot. And I just wanted to go back to that because my husband works sort of a late shift.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he gets home and gets settled in, it's usually around 11 or so. And that's when we started binge watching
Yeah.
both Ryan and um, Bosch. So it would be like from 11 until 2 a.m.
Yep.
Go
We're
figure.
not getting enough sleep. I know.
I know that's the other thing. I got circles under my eyes.
Well, again, we're just doing audio.
Yay.
Who cooks in your family? Are you the chef, or is it a whole?
Primarily, I am the chef,
Mm.
but when it comes to grilling, that's my husband's domain.
That's the way it is in my family. I don't cook. I mean, I wish I could. I wish I did. I need all the ingredients right there in front of me so I can just. I can't. My wife is amazing. She'll go in the refrigerator, go in the cupboards, go in the pantry, wherever, and just pull out, and everything is made. I need everything planned out, and but when it comes to grilling, there's only one burner. It's right there in front of me. Give me
And
food.
let me guess, your wife is preparing the meats and all of that, and all you have to do is just put it on the grill.
Yep. Yeah. But I get all the credit for it. This is great. You did a great job. It's like, thank you.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
But curbside pickups and deliveries. What do you
You know what? We've been doing a better job of eating at home
Oh,
than eating out, and that's funny, but healthier. When I had to go into the office, like I said, I have an hour commute. That's like 2 hours of my day on top of my work day.
mm-hmm,
Typically, I would get home between 6 and 7.
mm-hmm.
And so, depending on what kind of day I had, usually it was just call for delivery,
Yep.
or I would stop and get something on the way home. But because I am at home, I find that I'm able to cook more. So
Mhm.
we're perhaps eating healthier.
Okay. Well.
But the downside to that is we're also grazing through the day.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
So, it has its ups and its downs. But every so often, at least once a week, we do curbside. And now that they've started delivering again,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
the contactless delivery,
Yep.
order a pizza or something like that.
Yep. You a good tipper?
Yes, I try to be mindful of the work that they put in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also when they have to go out in the rain, sleet, and snow because we don't want to go and pick things
Yes,
up.
exactly. You know, I didn't realize how much that comes into play. That a lot of those guys are relying on those tips too. You know.
Yeah, well,
Hmm.
and to add to it is I live on a steep hill. I'm on the side of a mountain, so our
Okay.
driveway is very steep. And depending on the season, most winter, it can be pretty dangerous too. So, on the online delivery forms, when they have that little box for a note, I always make sure to say that our driveway is very steep.
Yep.
People won't try to come up the driveway.
Hmm.
So I automatically tip a little bit more because of that.
You had to navigate the
Yeah.
treacherous driveway.
Yes.
uh, Social distancing. What are you doing with the lines at the stores? I never thought I'd see anything like this. You know, with people standing 20 deep, waiting to get into a supermarket, and letting you in. Like, five people come out, five people go in, um, and everyone's there with their masks on. Um, are you able to adapt to that? I mean, is that okay with you?
It's okay with me, but I still find it surreal that we're having to do this.
Yeah.
You never would have imagined.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I keep wondering if that's what this was what it would be like in Siberia, or you hear the bread lines back in the 20s and 30s and so forth. You know,
exactly.
so surreal is a very good word to use for times like this.
Well, it's even when you go to Lowe's, not just the grocery store.
I went to Lowe's yesterday; they were closed.
I've been frequenting our Lowe's quite a bit
Mm,
because, in addition to working at home, just as you're looking around your house, you're saying, oh, that needs to be fixed.
yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
can now change that.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, all these DIY projects. And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah. We
I'm
we kind of
probably
have
frequent.
we kind of have extra buffer times. I mean, well, between the commutes that, well, you have an hour, so I'm guessing that's 2.5 hours per day
Yep,
extra that you have,
yep.
you know. And I'm finding it too. My wife is like the same thing. Well, you're home, so you might as well do this, and you might as well do that. And so yesterday was a lot of gardening, So
You too?
I'm sorry,
You too? I
gardening.
did the same thing. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I should say gardening. Mine was more landscaping. We
Um, I mow the lawn.
Okay, well that's sort of
Because my lawnmower moved out, so he, he's gone for a while right now, and he's not coming back here to mow the lawn for $10. So it takes me 20 minutes to do it. It's not a big lawn, but it still needs to be done.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. No, I get it. That and between laying down drainage rocks, trying to set up the flower bed in front of the house, which I learned as I started. Now that I have time to do a little bit more reading on landscaping, your flower bed should not come all the way up to your house, to the foundation of your house. There should be at least 12 inches. Well,
Why is that?
I guess for the drainage.
The drainage? Okay.
Um, I didn't get into the why. It just made sense to me at the time when I read it.
Just on a personal thing, when you first came on as the director of Dana Library, you had a meeting with the entire staff. And one of the questions, and I thought it was a rather good question, was tell me something about yourself that nobody really knows. And I think you said you played piano.
Yes.
Yes, you played piano. Okay. Um, what about other hobbies or talents or life experiences that you'd care to share? Anything like that?
Well, I actually studied piano from second grade through my freshman year of college, mostly classical,
Mm-hmm.
but I also played the bassoon, should I say played, the bassoon, the trumpet, and the clarinet.
Really?
Yes.
So that's something I really didn't know. Um,
Yes.
is this Do you have a trumpet, a clarinet, and a bassoon at home?
I now have a clarinet thanks to my son
Oh,
because
mhm.
he was in band in fifth grade. I do
Okay.
not have a bassoon, and I will say that while I was playing it, I was trying to get my mother to buy me a bassoon. I think it makes the most beautiful music,
Mm-hmm.
and I just like the way it looks, but they're very expensive.
They are very expensive. I mean,
So, but I still have my trumpet.
really.
I still have my trumpet.
Our friend Ed Berger used to play the trumpet too, or from what I understand. I, you were part of the IJS All Stars, if I recall, right? Is that correct?
I was more like a hanger on. Yeah.
Uh-huh. A wannabe. You were like the fill-in. If we-
Yeah,
if Ed,
something like that, you
if
know.
if Ed weren't available, we'd call in Consuelo, the ringer. Oh.
No, I picked up those instruments in junior high, high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I started playing piano, like I said, in second grade when I was in Catholic school, which is another thing you guys probably don't know about me.
You went to Catholic school?
I went to Catholic school.
So did I. First 8 years, elementary school only.
Yep,
Okay.
same here, K through 8.
K through eight.
And then transitioned to a public junior high,
Public high
which
school.
they still had at the time.
Yep.
Um, but when I got to junior high, they had band classes, and I wanted to play in the band, and they didn't have, in concert band, there's no keyboards, so I had to pick up a different instrument.
Ah.
And my sister, who's older than I, had played clarinet before me, so we had a clarinet at home, and that became my primary band instrument. By the time we moved over to high school, they had so many choices. There's concert band, there's the marching band, there's the jazz band. And so I played keyboards in the jazz band. I was playing clarinet in the concert band until we needed another bassoonist, and then I moved over to the bassoon in jazz and concert band.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played the trumpet in marching band.
That's good to know.
So two different embouchures. Yep.
Oh,
Double reed.
yeah,
Well, actually,
they are.
three. Double reed, single reed, and then your
Brass.
the metal mouthpiece for your.
Brass. Yes. The that's what it's called, I guess. Um. Okay, so that's that. What's your one guilty pleasure? If you
The
care to, if you care to share it, whether it's food.
Bravo's Real Housewife series.
Which one?
Bravo's The Real Housewives series.
Mm-hmm.
It could be the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I used to watch a little more of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but now it's Married to Medicine.
Married to medicine. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's something you recommend, or just for your own personal viewing pleasure?
I view it for entertainment, so I would recommend if anyone's looking for mindless entertainment, by all means tune in to the Bravo channel. I
Okay.
used to watch Vanderpump Rules, but there's something about the content in that show that just wasn't engaging for me.
Yeah.
It's a different target audience, and so the other series resonate more for a woman of a certain age.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Winding down here. Go up, and when this is all over, and we know it will be all over, the whole pandemic, the whole everything that's going on. What do you see as the one good positive thing that we all can get from what has happened over the past few months?
So life is going to be different. I mean, I think it is increasing our awareness of issues just in general as a society. But when we're talking about the libraries and Rutgers University, I think our lives, our professional lives, are going to be different as well. And when I say that, is that I think that this pandemic is really pushing us to think outside the box about how to deliver services to our students, and also really to think about and get in to get attuned to our users. I think we find ourselves asking those questions now. How can we deliver this information to our students now that they're not on campus? We started grappling with that. This podcast is a good example of that, a really creative example of that. And I think that at the end of this tunnel, it's that creativity that's going to become more prevalent. We're not going to be thinking about falling back into the traditional modes of things, but I think we will have a new normal where we begin to think outside the box, we become creative in our responses to our users, and that we're also asking the question, what do they want? We'll find out that we'll be engaging with them more with that question, what do they want?
It's true. And I hope we find out rather soon.
Me too.
Yeah. Consuela, thank you so much for speaking with us today as our inaugural participant in this podcast, which, again, we're looking for a perfect title for it. And thank you again, and hoping we'll see you all live and in person very soon.
Thank you, Mark. And same here.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Stay healthy, and we'll talk soon.
All right. You too.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
And that's our show this week. Tune in next week when our guest will be Wayne Winborn, Director of the Institute of Jazz Studies. This is Mark Papianni. Join us again for another episode of... We haven't come up with a name yet.